Rasheda, great to see you. I was thinking of you with this fight, remembering your dad. I think in 1976, he kind of did the first of something like this by taking on a Japanese wrestler.
He did.
It was a draw, if I remember correctly, but it started something. Some people say that was the later MMA that started, that undid boxing. But what did you make of this whole thing?
Hi, Neil. Good to see you again.
Same here.
You know, you're right. My dad really did go outside of his comfort zone, and he was the first boxer to actually fight a wrestler. So
that's right.
Back then it was kind of like, oh my God, you know, we can kind of intertwine different types of techniques, and combat sports can come together. That's kind of how MMA started. And my dad was the first to do it, so wouldn't you know? I thought it was interesting to be able to, you know, for my dad to fight a wrestler. Last night was exciting, and I thought that was really cool to see Mike in the ring again. It was awesome.
You know, I'm a big fan of Mike Tyson. As a kid, I watched him as a 19-year-old become the heavyweight champion of the world. He was just indestructible. He encountered a lot of problems, a lot of serious problems, lost a lot of money. You've been trying to work with boxers who go through that to avoid that, and maybe to avoid the need to even do something like this. I'm not saying you're taking that leap, but tell me a little about that.
You know, my dad was instrumental in the 90s with Senator McCain to create the Muhammad Ali law to protect fighters who were being taken advantage of by managers and promoters and things like that. So my dad was when he retired, he really wanted to help other fighters so that when they get in their prime and they're done fighting and they're retired, that they have money and they have a quality of life. My dad was comfortable in, you know, after retiring, but not all fighters had that opportunity. So my dad created a law to help and protect them.
Yeah, you've gone a long way there. And the difference with your dad, of course, he was such an iconic global figure. It didn't even matter the money made from boxing. He could sell anything. Sugar Ray Leonard learned a lot from him. Larry Holmes learned a lot from him. Even Ernie Shavers learned a lot from him. Ken Norton went into movies. I remember all of that. And your dad started that. I'm just wondering, though, what happened to boxing? Because I always felt, and I've told you this before, Rasheda, when your dad left the scene, it just wasn't as interesting. He was such a bigger-than-life figure. He was so funny, so quick on his feet. Then we started splitting it into multiple champions and multiple weight classes. It got to be a mess. Can it ever come back? Do you ever want to see it come back?
You know, my dad was so eloquent in saying that I'm bigger than boxing, because he always wanted to let people know that boxing was his platform to introduce him to the world so they can do greater things. But also when he was Cassius Clay and then changed his name and causing all this trouble, he wanted to bring eyes to the sport, and he did that. Before there were promoters and before there were PR managers and, you know, marketing people for boxers, he did that on his own. And what I think Daddy wanted was he wanted people to spend money to watch him fight. Yeah. And boxers didn't make money like you know, Tyson's making now. So I think Daddy would have been so excited because he made that kind of money. Daddy would have been mortified, because back then boxers didn't really make that much, and they were fighting for their lives. And I think as my dad started to make boxing more entertainment, that's when people came on board, and that's how boxers started to, after my dad, make a lot of money.
Yeah, but not only did he do that, he made sure that others would get the same opportunity. But what you're doing to extend that good feeling. I mean, the 9 children, we remember all of you and your dad, but you particularly have done so much to keep his name and mission alive. Rasheda, thank you so much.